Ladies and gentlemen, I'm your host Wind, and I bring you a story of existential terror. I bring you the story of Final Fantasy IV from a perspective few have experienced, although they are unable to tell us. There's memory before the boot screen, as a formless consciousness flickers into awareness in a dark void filled with the faint, looping music, the theme song, but they echo without an origin. Characters, monsters, NPCs, they are all between cycles, lacking bodies, waiting for the player to summon them into being. But they have a fear of reawakening. They dread the moment when the screen fades from black and the opening theme begins, because that means their identities will be forcibly assigned back to them once again. And as that awakening occurs, the barren airship fleet scene opens. As soon as the game loads, Cecil comes into existence on the Red Wing airship. Cecil remembers being here many, many times, but cannot prevent his scripted lines or actions. He can think, but the words that he thinks won't come out of his lips. He wants to move his arm, and he wants to walk a different way. The body just will not let him. The soldiers around him have the same awareness, but are voiceless outside of their assigned dialogue. Their eyes silently plead when not being seen by the player. They cry for help. The Mode 7 airship flight animation, to them, feels like a conveyor belt dragging them back into roles that they cannot resist. In Barren Castle, the NPCs describe their lives proudly, yet their bodies tremble without trembling. A mental struggle. Kane and Cecil attempt to speak privately, but their words snap back into the exact dialogue of the cutscene, dialogue they know all too well. Their free thoughts overridden. The castle's music becomes oppressive. It becomes repetitive. Its loop feels like a reminder that they have no agency. Even the monsters, such as the Mist Dragon in the Mist Cave. We'll go into the first monster's perspective. The Mist Dragon and cave monsters are sentient between cycles as well. They know they only exist to be killed repeatedly, over and over and over again. As the battle screen loads, their existence is shredded and rebuilt into interchangeable sprites awaiting active time battle commands. The Mist Dragon realized long ago it was always doomed to transform into mist form, always destined to fall to a dark night that actually does not want to kill it. Cecil and Kane destroy Mist Village. The villagers' souls have been through this thousands and thousands of times. Their screams echo, even when the sound chip plays nothing. And these screams haunt Kane and Cecil. It haunts the villagers as they know they will relive this again. The dying summoner tries to warn Rydia of this cycle, but her code prevents her from saying anything outside of her dialogue lines. The burning house sequence plays out mechanically, while Rydia's consciousness tries to rebel, unable to alter the animation frames. In Kaipo, a safe town is still a prison. NPCs repeat their looping lines with increasing terror between cycles. Rosa's fevered sleep is existential torment. She is conscious the entire time, but unable to move or change her condition until the gameplay reaches this moment. The desert music theme becomes her lullaby of despair. Mount Ordeals. Cecil's forced redemption. Cecil remembers becoming a paladin infinite times before. He has never chosen kindness. It is simply the next script. His dark self, the boss, is also aware, and begs silently for the crystal to end before being struck down. Golbez and his puppet consciousness. Golbez's mind flickers between free thought and hard-coded, villainous monologues. Between cycles, he is horrified at the things he will soon be forced to do again, and the things he had already done previously. Edge and the Four Elements. Edge remembers his parents being twisted painfully and slowly into monsters more times than he cares to even attempt to count. The vision is just burned. The memory. And the Four Elements. They exist as eternal archetypes, each aware of their designated battle mechanics, attack patterns, and death animations. Fantastical things such as the lunar whale. It's an escape that is not an escape. Even as the party flies this legendary ship, its humming music from the Super Nintendo, the sound effect reminds them that they are still inside the logic of a cartridge. The moon is not freedom, only another map. The Giant of Babel. The giant is alive, perhaps a mechanical nightmare. When activated by the player's progression, its heart and systems awaken in agony, meant to be awakened, only to be destroyed. Enemies within it resent their short, violent existence, aware that they will be erased and respawned upon each encounter reset. Then we have the final descent, or the climax of awareness. Zeramus. Between cycles exists only as hate, but he gains a flicker of clarity. He hates the player, hates the world that forces him to be the final obstacle. His death animation feels like relief, despite the slow, dissipating tears that shake all around him. Absolute agony. This agony is relief, but he knows he will be reassembled. When that next cycle starts, he will slowly reform with that same agony, destined for the same death and rebirth. The silent plea of the party of characters. As the player selects commands in the ATB interface, the characters feel their bodies move like puppets. When "You have beaten the game" fanfare pops up, the player is probably ecstatic. But for the characters, this fanfare is a funeral march to them. They know the loop will soon begin again at the title screen. But what about the save files? or other cartridges. Even when the game is off, the save file keeps the character partly conscious, trapped in a suspended dream where they wait for the player to return. They cling to fragmented memories of previous playthroughs, even though they are overwritten each time. But elsewhere, with a different copy of Final Fantasy IV on a different Super Nintendo, a new player boots the game for the first time. The opening theme plays, but their existence reinitiates, and all characters take their scripted positions, screaming silently once again as pixelated smiles appear on their faces for the player only. Thank you.